to IIT with all these guys who probably never spoke to women.
I mean, the first girl I talked to was basically you.
No.
Yeah. You know,
And you
then I
didn't
got
really
married.
talk to her. She talked to you. I
Yes.
feel like.
Hello, namaste, Zarna Garg here with the Zarna Garg Family Podcast. So excited because all 5 Gargs are in the house and you are going to love today's episode. It's going to help you, it's going to help us. And let me introduce everybody. I have my youngest, my middle schooler, Veer Garg, my high schooler who just finished high school, heading off to college this fall, Bridge Garg, my daughter who's in her last year of college, Zoya Garg, and my husband of 25 years, Wall Street veteran, Shalabh Garg. So today's episode is about confidence. It's about how to have confidence, how to get more confidence, how to overcome a lack of confidence. What are the factors that we look for? What are the things we do? I mean, starting this podcast was hard for us, right? We were scared to put ourselves out
God,
into the
I
world.
was really scared. I thought that this is just going to destroy my career because, I didn't want to be this is not what I do, right? I have a full-time job
Right.
that I'm involved in and a whole business. So yes, absolutely. It was very
But so what helped you get over it?
I mean, part of it is just I was naturally talented.
The
I didn't
people
know.
needed to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were
I mean, the
calling.
feedback that I've been getting on these podcasts was self-enforcing. And, I always knew I was the talent behind your talent. But to have the reinforcement
Okay.
from the general public really helped.
Okay, but what about the first episode? What prompted you to say, let's even do one episode?
I mean, that was led more by guilt because I wanted to be a supportive husband.
Okay.
And you'd been a very supportive wife for 20 plus years. So I always found it a very natural outcome of that to be supportive as well.
Okay, no, but Dad brings up a good point because even if it was guilt that got him to the first episode, once he had completed that first episode, he just hit the ground running.
Yes.
And I do think that one thing about confidence is sometimes you just have to just blindly do and then just continue to do, and in the process of doing you accumulate confidence, right? If
And
you
also
overthink.
enjoyment.
Yeah, but you only started to enjoy it once you had done it and not overthought and intellectualized the
Yeah.
preliminary process.
Yeah.
So one thing
I
that
mean, honestly, hanging out with the kids and talking about all these topics has been really fun. So I guess some of
Yeah.
the version of confidence is just doing what you enjoy and not forcing something that you're not into.
right.
Are we becoming a white family now? Like what?
'Cause
Doing what you enjoy? Okay, I don't endorse that. But we did start doing it and took a leap of faith, right? Yeah, last year. We're about to finish 1 year of our family podcast, people. 1 year. We took a leap of faith. I booked this studio, this very same studio that we're in. And I was like, let's just talk about something and see how it goes, right? And you, at the time, were terrified of
I was
social
so
media.
terrified. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was saying earlier, I do think that leap of faith that you take, it's just getting after that leap of faith that's the hard part. And then once you've thrown yourself in, it's almost as if, okay, I'm already doing this. Nothing earth-shattering has happened. I can continue to do this from there. I think it's that 0 to 1 that's very challenging.
Bridge, what's your favorite quote about courage and fear and the others? Bridge, say it.
Fear, success lives on the other side of fear.
Totally. No, but that's what it is. It's like if you can break through that initial fear, then you're set, because the fear is what holds you back from even at least experiencing what could be really joyful to go in the.
But the truth is, there is some truth to the fear. I mean,
Yeah.
we are putting ourselves out there in a big way.
Right.
All our opinions are out there. And as much as we get a lot of love for our episodes, we get a lot of positive, we also get a bunch of negative comments. People think we are this, people think we're that. But how do we plow through it? Like, do you in school, does anybody ever say to you, I can't believe you said that? Or why would you say that? Has that ever happened to you guys? How did you get started and what helps you keep going?
Nobody's ever said that, but like I've definitely like a lot of people know about the podcast. I'm not sure how. I guess it's just because of you, but a lot of people do know about the podcast.
But do they ever say to you they like it or they hate it?
Yeah,
Or how
a
could
lot
they
of my
do it?
friends like it. I mean, I feel like they wouldn't tell me they hate it to my face. but
Right.
a lot of them do like it.
Okay.
I think for me personally, I've always been one of the most like vocal people in my entire school. So most people have already like recognized and like understand that I'm gonna speak my mind no matter what. So this podcast,
What are
like,
you vocal about? I didn't know that.
He is very
very
vocal.
very vocal, just about everything. Like if there's a debate topic, I'll always add myself into it. If there's a conversation going on in class, I'll always make sure like I'm part of it. Like I'll never be one of those kids who just sit in the back of the class while like a whole discussion's going on and just like, you know, listen. Like listening is important, but I'll listen and then speak. Like I always make sure to like make my voice heard. So for them, I mean, most people I know like the podcast a lot, and which I kind of expected, and most of them already know what I'm gonna say because they know me well and know my takes.
But this one was about confidence, right? So I'm not sure where you're going with this.
No, but
Yeah,
it
I mean,
takes
yeah.
a level of confidence to put yourself out there on a big platform like this, right? When we first started, we were all nervous. I was nervous.
I wasn't nervous.
I was nervous for you guys because I'm already kind of public in my life and in my opinions, but I was really nervous. You have a corporate job. You're about to start college. You are in college. You might have corporate careers. I don't know what you guys are going to end up doing. I was actually terrified that what if being out into the world like just destroys your career, destroys, like what if you say something that, I don't know, somebody decides to cancel us over, because that target is an ever moving target. What is accepted today might not be 6 months from now.
You know what? I gotta tell you that, in my opinion, and I know you're gonna chop my head off the minute I say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. A good college education can form a huge basis of young adult confidence.
Okay, is that true?
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Getting into a college, finishing that college, socializing in college, performing in college, learning from college.
Okay, can you just say it? Getting into a good college?
Yes.
Can you just say it?
Yes, getting into a really good college, a good college. Like
Okay, so I
Cornell
think
or
this is an
Stanford
important-
or IIT, which 3 of our family members.
I think this is an important thing to understand contextually. My dad is elitist.
I
Fair
am
to
elitist.
say.
Yes.
He loves name brands. He's always loved name brands, and that was super important to him. And I think this is actually a great yin and yang, because my mom could care less about the labels, about the titles. In fact, she actually thinks in many ways it takes a lot away from a kid. And throughout my and Bridge and Veer's entire lives, it's always been a push and pull of my dad saying, I really want you guys to get into one of these top 10 schools. And my mom saying,
Top 5.
I want you to
top
just
5.
top 5. I want my
Top 3. Top 3.
Okay. I want my kids to just work very hard and learn how to make money and run businesses. That it's always been a push and pull. So that is where my dad is coming from. I think that it's interesting because for a long time, I think especially as the oldest kid of the family, there's this tendency to try and accumulate these stickers, right? Like I got into a great high school and I got into a great college and I got this award and I won that competition and I got first place. And that is something that I definitely growing up thought was giving me a lot of confidence. But now that I'm in one of these schools, I'm realizing it's not actually the titles that have been giving me the confidence. It's the belief that I can earn those titles, right? So
But you can only get that belief once you've earned them, right?
no,
Or
I
at least
think
some of them.
I think it's a mental thing of wanting to constantly aim for something big.
Look, I've seen that complete transformation in Bridge once he got into Cornell. The amount of confidence that he exhibited post
I
getting.
had confidence pre-Cornell. I actually think
Yeah.
that getting into Cornell did absolutely nothing for my confidence.
Somehow
think
I
that-
observe it differently.
Maybe
I
you
feel like
observe
you've
it
become a
differently.
whole
The people
different
who know
boy.
me in my school would say that it did absolutely nothing to change in my confidence.
I think it did nothing.
And I
We're
think
just
that
very
honestly,
confident.
going to high school also did nothing. From my perspective, when we're talking about confidence, we're talking about the ability to speak in front of a room full of people you don't know, or the ability to make your voice heard when maybe it's like an awkward time, the ability to stay true to who you are even in an awkward situation. And I honestly think, from a guy's perspective, there's only few ways you can gain confidence as a man. I think one of those ways is impressing women. If you're a dude who impresses women, you're gonna have more confidence. I know guys who are extremely genius
What are you
and
talking
just
about?
get a bunch of awards and achievements, but they don't have any confidence, and they'll admit they have no confidence. They're just great with books and doing their work and stuff. But I see guys who aren't as smart but will be able to make themselves
Dude, what
appear
are you
in front of
talking
women,
about?
Let him
and it
finish his
works.
thought.
I just I know that this is a niche thing for you guys to understand, and I know people are gonna disagree with me all over the place. But I definitely from the way I see it, the dudes who are able to talk to women better than other dudes are the ones that always have the
Are
confidence.
you able to talk to women?
Yes, I am, and I think that's a part of the reason why I think before, when I was in 6th grade and previously, I didn't have that much confidence. I was just not a type of kid that would speak to many women or any like sort of situation. I just didn't have the confidence. Even if I like had known the answer was correct, and for example in a classroom, I wouldn't raise my hand to answer it just because I didn't have the confidence to like speak in front of a room like that. But then when I went into 7th grade, I started talking to different women, and honestly, that's what created like my whole personality. I feel like a lot of what I was able to do after that like came from that root cause of being able to speak to women.
This
But
is a
then,
crazy
Bridge,
take.
but then that would say that no nerd is confident, and that's not true.
I think
Nerdy
it's
guys,
very difficult for nerdy guys to get confident.
but nerdy
and also
guys
even
are
nerdy
confident
guys
in other things. That
like can I get an example?
like they are very confident in their abilities. They're very confident in what they want to do in their life. Like I agree with you that the women
But this is
thing
a very
big
like
angle.
academic stance of confidence. I'm not talking about like an academic who is going to be able to become the next whatever Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. I'm talking about like the people who are able to literally like socialize and go out and like have good times with confidence and stuff. There's people who will go into a party, for example. It doesn't even have to be like a drinking party. It's any type of party, and just won't speak to other people they don't know. They'll just stay with their friends and just.
So
sit in
when
a
did
corner.
you realize this about yourself?
It's not even about myself. It's about every like person I see around me. Is like
Or I'm
You can just see
specifically
the
asking,
difference.
when did you gain that confidence that you can?
I told you, it was 7th grade when I started speaking to women. I just like.
You mean
like
girls?
Girls, yeah. Like something just like clicked inside of me and just realized like that like ability just like became a foundation for everything else I was able to do.
I mean, you make a joke that life works out differently for attractive people. He actually has taken that to heart.
Well,
it has nothing to do with being attractive. You can be ugly, you can be attractive, you can be anything.
He's talking about social confidence.
I'm talking about
For
social
men.
confidence,
but
and I think
I'm
that
saying,
that's
But I'm saying you have to leave room for the nerds, the introverts. There are people who just don't want to talk to other people,
yeah.
and they are also confident, just in a different way. That's what I'm saying. That the women thing is huge for sure. It's like the big kahuna of confidence, the men and women talking to each other. But there is room. Like you went to IIT with all these guys who probably never spoke to women.
I mean, the first girl I talked to was basically you.
No.
Yeah.
And you
then I
didn't
got
really
married.
talk to her. She talked to you. I feel
Yes.
like.
So I don't have that kind of experience. I mean, and I never thought of it that way. That I was very confident in college about myself and what I wanted to do.
Where did that confidence come from?
I mean, to be honest, a lot of that confidence came from getting into a good college.
Yeah.
But do you think that that's confidence, or do you think that's just appeasing insecurity?
I
I feel
think
like there's
it's
a
the
difference
same
between
thing.
confidence
I don't-
and
Yeah,
cockiness.
what? That's like what?
I think like
Yeah, that is true. What do you think is cocky?
Like cockiness is just like flaunting. Confidence is like just being confident. I don't know how to explain
confidence
it.
is
It's just
yeah.
That's a good idea. Why doesn't everyone say what their definition of confidence is? What do you mean when you
I
say
have
confidence?
it. Go ahead. I will say it last.
Why don't you say it first?
Why don't you
No,
say
I-
it first?
nobody
You
else has
clearly-
their answer.
Because I
You
will
clearly have your
demoralize.
Just
answer.
I will
demoralize
demoralize all of you guys if I tell you.
Do
what
it.
is.
Do it.
Confidence is quiet. Cockiness is loud. Confidence whispers. Cockiness screams.
I mean, this just sounds like
Yeah,
It's the same as
Well,
it's same as wealth whispers,
Bollywood dialogue
money screams.
No, it's
No.
money
that Shah
talk.
Rukh Khan would make in one of his
That's a
films.
different quote. It's a confident person is not needing to prove themselves or their point of view constantly, because they believe what they believe and they are fine with it. They're fine if you don't believe what they believe. They're very okay with it. But a cocky person is actually deeply a little insecure, because a little not confident. There's a constant need to prove that they are something.
Do you think men and women exhibit confidence differently?
100%.
100%.
Yeah,
Oh
for
my
sure.
god.
How?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like for example, the definition she just gave. I mean, that's been like very true to
What's your definition, Bridge?
I'll get into that in a second, but the way that what you just said is very true to like how you've lived your whole life, and that's something
Yeah.
I've always admired, is the fact that you don't need to prove to anyone. Like if someone disagreed with you, but you knew you were right, you wouldn't say it. You would just be like, okay, like have your opinion, enjoy your
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
That's something I don't have. Like if I was in a room with someone and we were in a conversation and I knew what he or she was saying was just incorrect, I don't have the ability, or like it would be very difficult for me to not like try and like conversate and get through to them. Like that's just something that's difficult to me. Or if someone's like make a wrong decision, like it's just difficult for me to like step back on the sideline while all
even if
this
they're
is
like a
going on.
stubborn person and you know they won't change their
I mean
mind.
that's like most of my life is honestly like a stubborn person versus a stubborn person, and just like dialoguing and conversating about everything. It's difficult for me to.
It's
just step
also
back.
a young person thing, Bridge. Like by the time you reach our age, you're too tired to fight everybody. Because there's
I mean,
gonna
talk
you're
for
gonna
yourself.
meet
I'm not. I'm 6 months younger.
you're oh my god, 6 months younger. You're gonna meet dumb people everywhere. You know, at by the time you're my age, you're gonna meet dumb people around every bend, and you learn. You like, you know what? Just believe what you want. You know what I mean? You will meet
I mean,
that
sometimes
guy.
I do. Sometimes I do it. When I see someone making like, I always like assess conversations in two different ways. When I see someone, I can instantly tell or very quickly tell based on what they're saying if they're the type of person that will have a conversation with you, like that might be a debate, or be the type of person that will be emotionally distraught if you have a debate, or if you disagree with them, they're just gonna like be like, oh no, you're stupid. Like if I
Right.
always get annoyed when I'm having a conversation with someone and their immediate result is to be like, oh, you're stupid. You just don't know what you're talking about. It's very degrading and it's not a right way to have a conversation with someone. It
Do you
should
think
never
an
be like that.
unsuccessful, professionally unsuccessful man can he be confident?
Yeah, 100%. Any man can be confident. Any woman can be confident. I just think like the way that you're saying it
That's a really
is
good
that I think that she looks at a lot more like academic confidence, like someone's confident in their ability to achieve what they want to achieve, which is like obviously like I'm not disagreeing that that's a thing, like it's very true. But I'm looking for confidence from a stance of someone who like just went through a high school experience and looking around to the people to see which type of person can speak in a room and which type of person can't.
Well-
Because that was majority of my class couldn't speak in front of a room, and they would always talk to me and they would ask
Even
me,
New York
Bridge,
kids?
even New York kids. First of all, in New York, especially in New York, because it's extremely diversifying, because it's like there's if you feel like you're in the minority of an opinion, you don't want to speak.
Right.
If you, for example, like
that's
I know a couple
true.
of conservative students in my class, and we live in New York, which if you didn't know, New York City is extremely liberal, like over the edge liberal, right? And I know a couple of conservative students, and I know they want to say some stuff, but they never feel the confidence to, just because. And that's not even confidence. That might just be like security and the fact that
Yeah.
They might
you might
get
be
bullied.
thinking like
Yeah.
you
They
can
might
get bullied for that, or
bullied.
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
You might even get bad grades.
bad
I mean,
grades.
there
Yeah,
are-
teachers will take it
yeah,
personally.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's like one thing. But I'm more talking about like the ability. When I talk about confidence, I'm saying like the people who are able to talk to other people. Like if I had just met you, would I be able to talk to you? You know, would we be able to have a conversation?
Yeah.
And one thing, I'm just gonna give a personal strategy because there's certain things that have led me to be able to talk to anybody. Like if I'm talking to any stranger right now watching, if you were to come up to me, I would be able to have a conversation with you for sure. Like I just know it. And one of the things that has really helped me that I think that all you young boys or girls should 100% do is Model UN. I think that Model UN or some sort of debate team, because she also did debate, so you can speak to it. Doing stuff like that is it's so scary and makes you so nervous, but it forces you to speak, right? It forces you to interact with other people. It might even force you to be manipulative in the way that you might not want to say what you want to say, but knowing that if you say that, you will win like an award or you will win personalities or people being friends, right? It forces you on into these so many different situations where you have to speak. And I think like experiences like that are extremely valuable, just extremely valuable. And it makes you learn how to like adapt to other people's personalities. And I think more than anything else I've done in high school or middle school, Model UN has been the most impactful for me.
Well, I have a note on that, and this kind of extends on the definitions of confidence. I believe confidence is a learned quality. It's not something that you turn off and on. You are a confident person, you're born confident, or you are not a confident. It's not a binary thing. To me, confidence comes from experiences over time where you've put yourself in extraordinarily uncomfortable positions. So Bridge just listed one. When you are publicly speaking in Model UN conferences over the course of a long period of time, you are just building that confidence muscle one conference at a time. I feel that one thing that mom taught me from a very young age is the more you put yourself out there and the more risk you're willing to take with your own personality and your own sense of self, the better you're going to believe in yourself going forward for whatever next thing that you pursue. So for example, I did so many things in high school that were so scary to me. For example, I ran for my senior class president, which was something that was very public with my school. I had to publicly speak on a telegram, put my views for what I believe the school could benefit from. And even though I am a confident person, putting yourself and your social standing at risk, I could have lost, right? I got lucky and I won. I was very grateful for that. But there are a lot of things that I lost. Another thing, for example, this is a crazy story, but I do think it's relevant. My mom encouraged me and submitted me to the New York Miss Teen New York pageant when I was 16 years old. I am not a pageant girl. I played flag football in high school. I played golf. I have 2 younger brothers. Even though I like to do girly things, get dressed up, I am not a pageant queen. That was not my personality at all, especially in high school. But my mom was convinced that if I learned what it was like to be on a stage in a big dress surrounded by other girls where we were going to be actually marked on our beauty, on our ability to speak, on our ability to walk, that would be something that I could carry forth for the rest of my life. And I was terrified. I had never done anything of that sort. I had to stand in front of people in like very little clothes at one point as well, and actually walk with a smile and learn from all these other women that had been training for it for months. And I think that, for example, was a experience where I was so uncomfortable. But today I can stand in front of any room. I know what it means to walk into a room with a lot of presence. And I believe fully that because that was such an horribly uncomfortable experience for me, and that I was able to follow through and complete it, I now have that in my confidence bucket. That's an experience I can point to for the rest of my life and be like, in the next experience where I have to walk into a room and look at people and stand with a lot of poise, I know how to do that because I already did that when I was 16. So I think confidence, in short, is something that you develop over time, and I think it's a muscle.
And the more shots you take to follow up on you, what I have taught the kids and what we agree on is that take all the shots you can. Take all the shots. So what if you fail? You probably will fail on most of them. But it's the wins that will propel you to the next thing in your life, right? Like, I think that just knowing that you can do things and fail and not have it derail you in life is actually the skill. Because once you understand that, things don't fluster you in a way that they just end your life. Like, you deal with a
This is
loss.
starting to sound a little too preachy, but I wanted to ask, sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
But Veer, how does confidence work for a teenager like yourself?
He's not a teenager yet.
Almost 13 and
About it.
three.
Confidence. I feel like there's not. People always like mistake confidence and they group it with popularity. And my thing with that is that I feel like confidence only has 2 levels. Like, you're either confident or you're not confident. Everybody wants to say, like, I'm the most confident and he's a little bit less confident. I don't see it that way. I see either you're not confident and you don't speak at all, or you're just confident. That's just how I group it, at least at my age.
And do you speak with women? If we were to go back to
He's in 6th grade.
No, but girls. I mean, there are girls in sixth grade.
Like, he just met everyone. I mean, answer the question.
I plead the 5th.
Yeah.
What
Okay,
does
wait,
that
I have a
mean?
question. I have a question for you, Veer, and this was very important for me actually. Do you feel like sports plays a role in your?
Yes.
Your,
Oh my God.
I was gonna ask that question.
Yes.
Yes.
Confidence is how good you are at sports, to be honest. Like, if you're not good at
See?
sports, you're just
Everyone
gonna get
identifies
made fun of.
one thing that.
That's
helps
why
them.
I don't even like. I feel like being in a friend group is like what helps people be the best versions of themselves. Because if you're not good at a sport, you're gonna get made fun of, and when you get made fun of, you're gonna want to try and improve that part of your life.
Okay, I'm also gonna say one other point because I saw this in the comment section. Because actually, the way we came up with this topic was that my sister was reading through everyone's comments, as she always does, and she saw that everyone was asking about confidence, and a lot of the parents were always asking, "How can I instill confidence in my children?" And I think it's a big thing. Like, honestly, as much as I've worked myself, obviously the influence you've had on me, like in terms of gaining confidence, has extremely like what you've signed me up for example, and I think that's important. Like, but how did you know? I guess from like a parental perspective, to just sign us up for random things.
Yeah,
just,
like the pageant.
like a pageant. Like
Like, why
what-
did you
What
constantly
made
put
you
us in
think?
these
Like,
circles?
what
and
made
also
you think that?
I
Yeah, of
signed
course.
you
Yeah.
up for yoga at 13.
You signed me up.
When you guys used to, when my kids were little, I used to drag them to yoga, kicking and screaming, crying, tears on Lexington Avenue, up and down, all over Manhattan. And I would be like, you're going to go, you're going to be the worst person in the room, but you're going to figure it out. Then I mean, so many things. I've
And
signed
also
you up
flag
for.
football. I remember
Yeah.
she signed me up one time for a flag football tryout when I just entered a new school. And I remember like almost crying, begging, like, please don't go. Actually, it was my mom and my sister, but I remember crying, like literally thinking, I really don't want to do this. I don't play football. I've never played it before. And that ended up being one of the greatest experiences of my life. I think that football season, honestly, completely changed who I was as a person. As much as like the women and achievements, that literally like shaped who I was as a person. It completely changed everything about me. So, but like why? Especially for someone who
I'll
hates football.
tell you why, and I think your dad and I agree on this parenting philosophy. There is a parent out there that wants to protect their kid constantly, right? So there is a parent out there that wants to clear every weed so you have a smooth path forward in life, which is one way to parent. We believe, at least I do for sure, in a big way, that deal with all the problems now while we are still there to catch you if you fall. That's why we made big moves with your school. That's why we told you to take big risks. I actually believe that in the end, end analysis, whether it's sports or the talking to girls or whatever, this or that, confidence comes from knowing that you can do something for yourself. That you can do it yourself. That is the foundation of feeling confident and of feeling content, of feeling that you have achieved something. That is also the foundation for happiness. Happiness is the end product. Happiness is not what you get right at the upfront. That's why the people who do very difficult, complicated things are, in the end, they are happier than anybody else, because you can buy any number of things. That's not going to make you happy. That's just filling a deep void. So what I wanted and what we wanted for you guys is to have your own journey of getting up and falling, of trying different things and failing, and understanding that the failure will not take you down and we will have your back.
Yeah.
And I really and I'm doing that myself right now. This podcast is proof.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people made fun of me for launching this podcast? The number of people who are like, oh, podcasts are so over, it's oversaturated, there are too many podcasts. And we found our own different spin on it. We are a first of its kind family podcast in this whole world. We found our own spin and we just did it.
Yeah.
And had it failed, no one would have cared. People are so obsessed with themselves that had it failed, no one would have cared.
Well,
we would have all moved on to different things in our life.
One thing that I think you were touching on as well, and this is this is very personal to me, but I think women especially get really, really torn down for just having an opinion on anything.
Yeah.
Right? So when Bridge was saying earlier that he's never the person that sits in the back of the room and doesn't contribute, I have not had that experience. Even though I do have a lot to say, everybody calls me a chihuahua recently.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never heard you be silent.
No, I've never been silent.
But
But that actually took me a lot of time. People always comment on my voice. They're like, that girl is so loud.
Yeah.
Or why is she so passionate? She's so preachy. She's so, there's so many different things that you could say about the way that I speak. And everybody seems to comment on it. And this has been a thing since I was 15. And I think if you're a woman, you probably have experienced that too. It's just the way things are. One thing that gives me a lot of confidence is this unit. And I think we're really lucky to have it, right? So when people are making fun of me or I get a negative hate comment, I know that my family, and especially my brothers, have my back and will always be my friends, right? If they think that I'm onto something and they think that I'm doing great, then okay, I don't really care about what anybody thinks. And I think that having a unit of people, it doesn't have to necessarily be your family. It could be a very dear friend. It could be a distant relative. It could be your spouse. It could even be a mentor or a teacher. But if you have somebody that just believes in you and you actually believe in their feedback, then all the other opinions kind of wash away. Because why would you take stock in something that someone says if you would never take their feedback to begin with? And so, for example, I was really afraid of social media, petrified of social media growing up. I just thought Instagram was the scariest thing. I was one of those girls where before I posted anything, it had to go through 10 rounds of review from my mom and my friends and what angle looks the best, what caption, what time should I post. And in the past year, that has completely been a 360. Now I post and I don't even think about it, or I just...
think you mean a 180.
180, whatever. 180. Thank you, Beard, for that clarification on my math. But, and I think...
It's true, though.
It is true. I think that really came from just believing, for example, that if my mom thought what I was saying was really meaningful, then that's all that I really care about. So I think that has really helped me, having a tribe.
But in this house, in this family, the one person who has faced a real trial with confidence was you recently. In the last 2-3 years, over COVID, when your career got really shaken and you went through a lot of deep emotions, what kept it together for you?
I think as a grown man, professional success is a cornerstone of confidence, in the sense that it's very hard to be confident as a man if you're not validated by peers who are in the same business as you. And for the most of my career, I have been. So in that sense, I have been lucky. Last few years was harder. but having a family that's supportive, right? Having a spouse that found success herself can be a good source of confidence too. And having kids that succeed is very inspiring because, Zoya getting into Stanford or Bridge getting into Cornell or, Veer finding his own success with his media empire and, kids that are pretty and healthy, kids that work out. Finding Bridge doing all this is fun to watch and inspiring and very confidence inspiring as well. So, all of that really helps.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you get inspired by them when they take chances and fail and get up?
I think I find it more inspiring when they do healthy things,
Right.
because
That is true.
the things that you're grappling with outside of professional success as a growing, aging body is keeping your body in shape and making sure that you don't start looking fat and, and having, kids who are always working out and maintaining their bodies is very inspiring.
It's true. That is true that we have learned that from you guys for sure.
Mm.
Even though we taught you guys some things you guys evolved in, but then we learned from you guys that the way we grew up, for example, the way we grew up eating, drinking, moving, not moving was just not the right way.
Like in the evening when you're working, and then often I see the boys planning their meals and careful about what they're eating or coming back from a big hour-long swimming thing downstairs or a big gym thing. It's actually pretty inspiring and confidence inspiring.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with women, even though it's nice that you're good with women.
I think that's an important to
Wait,
bring
hold on.
up.
He didn't say good with women. He says he talks to women. That's two different things.
I know
I
a
think
lot of.
he
I don't
meant
think you
good
guys
with women.
understand. Actually, you probably understand because you went to public school. But there's a lot of men, like in the city and everywhere, that literally just cannot talk to a girl. Like they'll just freeze. Like they'll just freeze up. And I'm honestly willing to bet, Dad, that when you were in high school, even in your like,
I
math
was
sense-
that guy who could not talk to women.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But,
I'm
that's a
saying,
big
but I never
issue.
thought of it as a source of lack of confidence
Well,
at the
I thi-
time. Now maybe I can understand.
It's
what you're
different.
saying.
It's different now too.
And as a
Everything's-
grown man,
yeah.
I can talk to women more easily. Women
Yeah.
like lust after me all
But
the
you also
time
have a
now.
wife, so it's
Okay,
like
women lust after me all the time.
I think every
You
woman.
should watch the comments on
Okay, Dad.
Guys,
Yeah.
okay, if women watching this, if you agree with me, please give me a thumbs up.
I think,
Oh my
God, give him a thumbs up. I think every woman should ask out a person in their life. I am so pro. Okay, on the dating confidence thing, Bridget just talked a lot about the men's side. As a woman, I ask guys out and ask people out. I mean, it doesn't matter what gender or person you're interested in, but I do think that it actually goes both ways. There's this really bad, like archaic understanding of dating where if you're a woman or, you can't ask somebody out. I'm so over that. There's a lot of studies that actually suggest when a woman asks out a person, those relationships actually tend to do better than the opposite being the case, because when a woman does it, it's a woman knows what she wants and is actually expanding her reach of dating potentially. Whereas like if you're just waiting for inbound, then think about the kind of person that you're letting into your life from the get-go. It's not necessarily who
To be
you
fair,
want.
those where you say that, but the only guys you've dated slightly longer than a single coffee date are guys who have asked you out.
That's not true.
That,
That's actually not true. It's actually been me making
Okay.
even
I
right
didn't know.
now, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, this has been a fun episode on confidence building. We hope that you're listening and you can share with us what you do, your trips, your tips, your tricks, how you build confidence, the mistakes you've made. Actually, I would love to hear about the mistakes you've made and how you've overcome them, because we are always looking for ways to be more confident ourselves, to like have that courage. It's a muscle you have to work all the time. And as we end every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, we are going to take this episode to figure out which Garg gives the other Garg an A grade based on who brought the most entertainment, education, emotion in the episode. So who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go. I have to give it to Bridge for
Okay.
being a really pretty boy and good with women.
Oh my
what?
god.
Okay, I'm gonna give my agree to Veer. I think the comment about 180 instead of 360, I thought that was just really funny. Like, who would think of that?
It's so funny.
Giving my A grade to Baya because I just thought he killed it this episode. He was just making really good points after really good points.
Okay, I'm giving my A grade also to Bridge because I didn't know that this boy not talking to women thing is a thing. I thought it I thought it came out straight out of that character from Big Bang Theory. You know how they
Oh
have
yeah.
that Indian character who
Raj.
never but every time I used to watch it, I used to be like, this is so exaggerated. But apparently
No,
it's not.
It's not.
It's not exaggerated, and this is really news to me. And I'm thanking you for shedding light, because now I just got a whole new gold mine of topics that I'm gonna be writing jokes about.
I'm gonna give my A grade to Bridge and Veer whenever I feel like I'm lacking confidence. They're my first call. Like whenever I feel like I have no riz.
Even though
or
Baya doesn't pick up.
Yeah, Baya never picks up. Bridge never picks up. But when Veer picks up and I'm like sad about some grade that I got, he's always usually my first
Can
call.
you tell them about the 6:30 a.m. text?
Which,
The one that you sent and they get a response.
oh yeah. So
This
I
is
was
insane, by the way.
I
This
was,
is super crazy.
I was trying to be confident, and I, was kind of flirting with this guy over text, and I had sent a text at 6:30 a.m. and I was freaking out because I was like, it was some sort of it was like, we should get coffee.
They just met
smiley
each other
face.
too, and
we had just met each other, and I thought I
6:30
had so
a.m.
much riz, and I woke up Bridge and Veer, and I was like, guys, like, he hasn't responded. And then they were like, when did you text him? I was like, 6:30 a.m. And they died. They were like,
Can you
"Oh my
imagine getting a text
God."
at 6:30 a.m.? Like,
Yeah, and I guess that
No
strategy.
wonder you never got a
Yeah,
response back.
no, that strategy kind of flopped. But
Okay, anyway,
Anyways, yeah.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We want to hear from you. Like, share, comment, share this episode with your friends, watch it with your family, and tell us all about it. Thank you so much. Bye from all the girls.
bye.